broadcast, we're going to be asking some questions to help you figure out if it is finally time to get help for addiction, any type of addiction that we're talking about. So stick around. I just got to change a few settings, and I will be right back. To life. That's life. I'm singing out tonight. You're in my blood, my veins, in every word I pray. You so this is a group called For King and Country, and I'll give it all for you. Oh, I'm in love with you, overwhelmed by you. And if the world is listening, this is my. We're going to get started in just a couple of minutes. Everything I had inside of you. We are going to be talking, though, about 9 questions to ask yourself to know if you are ready for addiction recovery. Are you finally ready to get help?
Oh my God, you gonna have to open up their eyes. I don't really think they see me, Lord. You gonna have to help them come alive. We've been trapped inside the devil's lair. I don't think that we can breathe the air. People wonder how we get about. I'ma go ahead and say a prayer.
Wow, powerful song there. All right, so let's get into the broadcast. Thank you so much for checking this out. If you are brand new, let me introduce myself. I am Christine H. Moore. I'm a certified peer recovery coach. And what exactly does that mean? It means at the end of the day, the simplest way to put it is that I provide resources and hope to those who are struggling with all kinds of addictions. And I help now for a living, I help others break free from addiction, get on the road to recovery. And not only that, but I help them to thrive in their recovery. I myself was addicted to prescription pills for over 15 years. And by the grace of God, I now have been in recovery, going strong for 6 years. And so it is a privilege and an honor to be able to help those who struggle. And I also help family members who have loved ones that are struggling. And so I get on social media, all different types of platforms. Today, I am using an app called HAPS, HAPPS. And so HAPS is completely free. And it gives you the opportunity to be able to go live on several different platforms. So I'm on Facebook and YouTube, as well as HAPS. And yeah, so, and it's all free. So that's a nice plus. And they've been around for a little bit now. They're still working out the kinks, but you know what? Hey, it's free. So it's all good. But today I'm going to be talking about, are you, or ask yourself, am I ready for addiction recovery? Am I finally ready to get help? Because I have been getting a lot of questions, especially on TikTok. That's where my main audience is. So many people are asking me, how did you know? How did you know when you were finally ready? And that's a tough one to answer, because there were so many times I thought I was ready, but I really wasn't ready. And so my answer to that, to be completely honest, is it had to finally become painful enough. Sorry, my kittens here are getting into a little wrestle there. Let me show you real quick. Look at these. Look how precious. I mean, like, I can't. Like, Okay, you guys be nice to each other, okay? I got a little brother and sister. I foster kittens on the side. But anyways, what I was saying is that it really, for me, it finally had to become painful enough. Because in the past, it was painful, but not painful enough. And so it finally took hitting my rock bottom, which was losing custody of my two boys, my husband divorcing me, and just losing everything that was important to me. That was my rock bottom. And that was when I finally surrendered and fully surrendered. And yeah, so don't be that person. Don't be that person that has to lose everything in order to change, because you can stop it now before it gets that bad. Okay. So let me just get into the content now. So are you ready? Are you ready for recovery? No addict runs to addiction recovery with arms wide open, singing show tunes and grinning from ear to ear. But there are some questions that you can ask yourself to see if you are ready to take on the challenge of recovery and work towards a rewarding, and let me tell you, rewarding, and I'll add to that, fulfilling life of recovery. All right, let me see. I've got two monitors, so bear with me here. I'm still navigating my way through this. Okay, here we go. No one is ever 100% ready for addiction treatment or recovery. If we waited until we were ready, we would be waiting forever. Addiction recovery is almost always entered with some fear and doubt in mind. However, there are some signs that you can look for that show that you are more ready for and therefore more likely to succeed in recovery. Two of the main reasons that people hold off on getting help, even after they have acknowledged that their behavior is out of control and problematic, are ambivalence and fear of failure. Also, fear of the unknown. Ambivalence is being on the fence about whether or not you want to stop using, and you're probably still attached to your addicted way of life and maybe just haven't hit your rock bottom yet. Which does not mean you are not ready to give addiction recovery a try. It just means you are unsure. So let's ask ourselves the following questions to determine how ready you are for recovery despite your fears and ambivalence. And I'll just say this too. I remember I had a love-hate relationship with my drug of choice. Love-hate relationship. I loved it because the way it made me feel temporarily, and it was a way for me to cope with my depression, my anxiety, my problems in life. Yet I hated the consequences of using, because the lying, the stealing, the deceit, everything that goes along with it was just awful. And so it was just like this constant vicious cycle that I was in. I wanted to get help because I was tired of facing all those consequences and I felt bad about them. But yet letting go of that crutch and that thing that helped me cope with life, it's a very difficult balance. So number one, let's ask these questions. So number one, why am I considering giving up an addictive behavior or substance? Why? Is it to please someone else? Or While your friends and family can help you realize that you need help, entering treatment solely to just get them off your back is a red flag that you are not ready for addiction recovery. If, however, the need to stop using comes from deep inside your own self, then the chances that you are ready are much higher. So I remember for the longest time, I went into recovery meetings, outpatient programs, just so that I could get my kids back. I did that for the longest time because I was not ready to completely stop, yet I really, really needed my kids in my life. I'm their mom. So I remember going into treatment several times to please my husband and also to check off the box off so I could get my kids back. But you have to be in a place where you are ready to do it for yourself and your kids and your husband. But you have to be the main reason. That's when you know you truly are ready. So number one, why am I considering giving up an addictive behavior or substance? Number two, what fears do I have? What fears do I have? Try to understand what fears you actually have regarding giving up your substance abuse. Are you afraid that you won't have fun anymore? Are you afraid you will not be able to relax and cope with daily stressors? Acknowledging your fears will put you closer to being able to eventually take the plunge. Everyone, and I mean everyone, enters recovery with fears. But over time, you will realize that you can manage life living sober. And it will actually, I promise, it will actually be even better than before. And I remember when I first quit taking my drug of choice, it was like I was breaking up or going through a horrible divorce. It was terrible because I had this horrible, vicious love-hate relationship. I mean, I truly, truly was in love with my drug of choice because it took care of the problems that I had. It made them go away temporarily. And I just loved the way it made me feel. And nothing else seemed to be able to give me that kind of feeling. But as I finally got into recovery and worked my program and started realizing who I was and what I enjoyed doing and started just healing from the inside out, just life experiences became I could feel again. I wasn't numb anymore. And so just going for a hike, like a beautiful hike, or watching the sunrise or the sunset, and going to the beach, or just spending time with my kids. I mean, and exercise, running. I mean, all of those things started to become my new way of just living life and getting that natural high, because all of those things produce the natural good feel good hormones, endorphins, serotonin, all of those, dopamine. So what are the fears? What are the fears that you have? Are you afraid that you're not going to have fun anymore? Are you afraid you're not going to be able to relax and cope with daily stressors? Okay, so number one, why am I considering giving up addiction, behavior, or substance abuse? Number two, what fears do I have? And number three is, do I feel like I want to quit, but do not know how? Do I feel like I want to quit, but I don't know how? If the answer is yes, then you, my friends, are more than ready to get clean and sober. Many addicts have a desire to quit, but just don't know how. And especially if multiple attempts have resulted in failure. Ask for help and get into an alcohol or a drug rehab program If you have a willingness to quit, then you are already one step in the right direction. Okay, so I'll take that a step further and say this. There are so many pathways to recovery. If the thought of going into a 12-step program scares you, there's so many other options besides just the traditional 12-step. And that is the beauty of how recovery is evolving. That's what I love about this, because when I first got into recovery, I thought there was just one way, and it was the 12 steps, and that was it. And I'm not knocking 12 steps, because 12 steps saved my life. And I lived that program for a very long time. But I have brought in other things into my recovery that work for me. And so now that I'm a recovery coach and I work with so many people, I see there are so many different ways that work for people, because we're all unique. Our recovery is our recovery. It's not someone else's. So what works for someone else is not necessarily going to work for you. So you have to educate yourself on all the different pathways there are to recovery. And there's so many. There's MARA, Medicated Assisted Recovery Anonymous. There's Smart Recovery. There's the traditional AA. There's NA. There's Celebrate Recovery. I mean, Dharma Recovery. I mean, trust me, if you don't know about them, definitely do some research or reach out to me, and I'd be happy to help you figure out which pathway would work best for you. Okay, number 4, do I dream about a future without drugs or alcohol? Are you imagining a weekend with no hangovers? Wouldn't that be nice? A day that you can wake up and not think of your substance of choice? If you are dreaming of a future without drugs and alcohol, then the next step is to take actions that will get you there. Sounds so easy, right? These dreams mean that you have an inclination that being sober would be cool, and you are truly onto something. Okay, so do you think about, do you dream about, do you fantasize about a future without drugs and alcohol? Like, it'd be so nice if I could just not wake up with a horrible hangover. Or wouldn't it be nice to not spend all freaking day trying to find my drug of choice? I know for me, it was like a second job trying to find every day, how am I going to figure out today how I'm going to get my fix? It was exhausting. Number 5, is my health deteriorating? Is my health deteriorating? Hey, James. We are going over questions to determine if you are ready to get help for your addiction. So number 5, is my health deteriorating? Drugs and alcohol have many negative effects on the body and mind, including risk of cancer, osteoporosis, and heart attack. Recognizing that continued use will cause your health to continuously decline can be a good motivator towards change. And I know for me, I overdosed 3 separate times, waking up in the hospital, not knowing what happened. I also had a grand mal seizure one time. And so I definitely recognized my health was definitely deteriorating. And if I continued, I knew that I was going to probably be 6 feet under very soon. All right, so let's review real quick. Number 1, why are you considering giving up the addiction, behavior, or substance? 2, what fears do you have? Number 3, do you feel like you want to quit but just don't know how? Number 4, do you dream about a future without drugs or alcohol? And number 5, is my health deteriorating? All right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 more. Number 6, am I tired of feeling depressed, agitated, and anxious? A common turning point towards addiction recovery is being sick and tired of being sick and tired. If this is you, then now may be a good time to seek treatment. I know that feeling. Gosh, I was so sick and tired of being sick and tired. Number 7, are your finances spiraling out of control? Oh boy, I remember I got to a point where I was eventually living off of my credit cards. And then, of course, the credit card companies noticed that I was using my credit cards all the time and then cut me off. Hang on one second. My cat is, hold on. This is a live, so. Hey, I'm doing a live. You can't be playing with these. Okay, so are your finances spiraling out of control? Let's face it, substance abuse and some process addictions like gambling can be super expensive. And if you are getting to the point of losing it all or have increased difficulty providing for yourself and your family, then there's a good chance your addiction is taking you down into a deep, dark pit. If you can recognize this and it upsets you, then you, my friend, are ready for addiction treatment. All right, number 8, is using no longer fun? Most people began drinking, using drugs, or gambling because the activities were fun and entertaining. Oh boy, did I have some fun on some pills. If you find that using is no longer fun, but you still cannot stop, then you are at a point where taking steps towards addiction recovery makes sense. Addiction treatment and recovery can make life fun again, and I promise you, so many people think, oh, my life is just going to be so boring if I can't drink, if I go to these social events and I can't touch alcohol. What am I going to do? I'm going to be so bored, blah. I know it feels that way. And sometimes it might be. But you know what? That's a lot better than waking up with hangover after hangover after hangover, losing your family, losing your life. I'd say being bored every now and then is a lot better than that, my friends. But as I said before, recovery actually is a fun, beautiful, fulfilling life. And as you get into it and the longer you go on and the more healing you get, I promise it can be so much fun. It can be a blast. And the last question is, am I ready? Am I finally ready to be honest? Ooh, that word hurts when you're deep into active addiction. Honesty. Drug addiction is full of lying and deceit, not only to others, but mostly to yourself. You will probably spend years telling yourself, it's not that bad. I can stop whenever I want. Before you realize that this is a lie your addicted brain has formed. Addiction recovery requires you to be honest with yourself and others. And I'm talking 100% honest. If you are ready to stop the lies and be honest with yourself, then you are more than ready for recovery, my friends. Now that you have answered these questions honestly, it is time to examine your answers. If you answered no to most of these questions, then you likely are not ready for recovery and everything that it brings without a bit of encouragement. If answering these questions stirred any feelings, then like barely any feeling in you, then you're likely not ready for recovery. However, if answering these questions made you feel overwhelmed and scared, or even excited and hopeful about recovery and a future without drugs and alcohol, then your chances of success in addiction treatment are high. And you should call someone today to get started on your path to recovery. But remember, being ready for recovery does not mean you are not scared to death about what it's going to look like. Being ready means you have begun to realistically assess the impact that drugs and alcohol or a certain behavior is having on your life. And you're thinking about the positive implications of a future in recovery, free of drugs and alcohol or that damaging behavior, even if you don't know how to get there. Okay? It is completely normal to have fear because you just don't know. You don't know what it's the fear of the unknown, and you just don't know what it's going to look like. You know you want recovery, but you just don't know what that's going to look like and what it's going to entail. So if you are ready for recovery, now what? Now what? Never forget, no one ever is 100% prepared for drug addiction recovery and the work that it requires. Recovery is not easy, my friends, but life as an addict is not easy either. It is painful and it is unfulfilling, to say the least. Once you know that you need help and are ready and willing to give recovery a try, there are several options available to you. While some people are able to stop abusing drugs and alcohol on their own, which that could have been me, the reality is that most addicts are going to need some kind of treatment and long-term support in order to get clean and sober. So, my friends, let me review over the questions one more time, and then we will get on with our day. So number one is, why are you considering giving up an addictive behavior or substance? Why? Number two, what fears do you have? What fears do you have? Are you afraid you're not going to have fun anymore? Number three, do I feel like I want to quit, but I just don't know how? Maybe you've tried several things and ended up failing over and over. Number four, do you dream about a future without drugs or alcohol? Gosh, wouldn't it be nice to finally wake up without a hangover? Number five, is your health deteriorating? Number six, are you tired of feeling depressed, agitated, and anxious? Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Number seven, are your finances spiraling out of control? Number eight, is the using no longer fun? And number nine, am I ready to be honest? 100% honest, not only with others, but mostly with yourself. So my friends, if this resonated with you and if you're curious and want to know more, please reach out to me. I'm happy to help you and answer any questions you might have and point you in the right direction. My website is christinehmoore.com. You can also email me at christinemoore155@gmail.com. And again, I am a certified peer recovery coach. And what that means is that I help people, I give them resources and hope. I help people get on the road to recovery. And not only that, help them to thrive in their recovery. I myself was addicted to prescription pills for over 15 years, lost everything that was important to me. But by the grace of God, I finally was given the gift of desperation. And you're like, what is that? I'm like, I did. I got the gift of desperation and finally woke up and said, enough is enough. And I want to change. And I did it for myself. And I also did it for my kids. And today I live a life that is so rewarding and fulfilling. Is it easy? No. Is my life perfect? Heck no. Do I still have problems? Yes. But I don't have to cope in unhealthy ways any longer. I today now know what to do, how to live life without turning to my crutch that I had in the past, without my drug of choice. And now I get to help others. And it's so beautiful and so fulfilling. So my friends, I got to get going. I have a Toastmasters meeting I got to run to. So have a wonderful evening. If you like this, please give it a like, comment, share it out so others can see it. And I'll see you guys in the next live. Bye for now.